With all the restrictions during the pandemic, it can sometimes feel like there's not much to do or look forward to. Lucky for some of us fans, we still have football, whether it's high school, college, the NFL, or even fantasy football, which is why we're taking time this week to show our appreciation for all of football.
This NFL season has been very, very unique and unconventional. From teams not being allowed to play in their own stadium, like with the San Francisco 49ers, to teams having games postponed, players not being available because of COVID and contact tracing, to fans not being allowed in stadiums. There have been so many different things that have made this season unlike no other. Beyond COVID, though, there's a lot of unique things with this season as well. For instance, names like Tom Brady, Stephon Diggs, Philip Rivers have all moved to different teams, creating a lot of unique scenarios, like with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New England Patriots. There have been historic seasons for other teams too, like the New York Jets, who may go 0-16, which we haven't seen since the Cleveland Browns of a few years ago. Today's Cleveland Browns are in a better position than they ever have been since the 2000s, since the early 2000s, because they're actually in a winning position. They've had a winning record for the first time since, I believe, 2010. And they're in a position to get a wild card spot, which is pretty unheard of if you know the Cleveland Browns. Looking more locally to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were undefeated until this Monday in Week 12 when they were upset by the Washington football team, who are from a historically bad division. The NFC East has 4 losing teams. All 4 of the teams in that division have losing records, and yet they're all still fighting for that number 4 seed in the NFC. The Eagles, the Cowboys, the football team, and the Giants are all competing to win their division with losing records, which has never been heard of. This is an absolutely unconventional time, not just because of COVID.
Hello, everybody. My name is Parker Logue. Now, over the virtual season, and especially in these past couple of weeks, one thing that has occupied my time has been fantasy football. A great system that takes the players and grand thrills of playing football, throwing passes, catching touchdowns. Wait, you don't get to do any of that? You only just choose players and they play for you? I paid $10 for this? No, in all seriousness, getting a group together to compete in a fantasy team was very fun. You and your group take turns selecting real players to play on your team. As your individual players score points in real football, they count as points in your fantasy squad. Now, every week, I looked at the players on my own team to see who was doing well and who was doing poorly, and I could change my composition accordingly. As someone who's not very much into football, it was especially fun to delve into something new over this quarantine, whether it's watching football with my family or just talking about it with friends. Also, it was fun to see different combinations and things that would happen with fantasy, say Tom Brady and James Conner on the same team. Now, I hope all of you guys get a chance to try it out at some point.
College football is one of America's favorite pastimes, but like everything else right now, it's struggling. With the COVID-19 pandemic, there are several games canceled each week. And if you're lucky enough to have a game, you can't allow many fans, if any, in your stadium. College teams have gone to great lengths to slow down the virus and not get infected, but with 893 teams including Division 1, 2, 3, junior college, and NAIA, it's inevitable to happen. Even with all the negativity, college football still goes on to be the light in a pitch-black cave, which is why we are so grateful, and you should be too. This month officially marks the beginning of bowl season, and all we can do is hope for the best and show our appreciation for college football.
The coronavirus pandemic continues to remain a present issue, and in the face of such a problem, sports and entertainment industries like the NFL have had to adapt. Handling COVID-19 has been difficult, yet the NFL decided to hold their normal season with changes to ensure health and safety of those working at the games. The NFL has taken the initiative in fining those who don't follow safety protocols and providing leniency in some aspects of the sport, such as the active player roster or the injured player reserve. The majority of teams are not allowing fans to attend games in person. However, some teams are allowing fans in with limitations on the total amount of people. Despite the changes, the NFL season has seen continued success and provided much-needed entertainment for many people during these trying times.